So welcome back students. So today we will be continuing with the module 3, that is design of sections in Flexure. Okay, so in the previous class we had studied regarding flexural strength. We had studied various things, various types of failures, that is failure in tension, then under reinforced failure, section of under reinforced section, then over reinforced failure, and then several other failure modes. Okay, so we had derived flexural strength formulas, right? We had derived the moment of resistance formula MOR, right? For your T beams, right? For your rectangular section, or your section T beam T section, in which your neutral axis lies within the flange. Okay, neutral axis is within the flange, so it behaves like a rectangular section itself. So the formula which we derived is here. Okay, FPU into AP into D minus 0.42 XU. Okay, keep this formula in mind. So this we will be using further. The FPU will be given to, sorry, it will not be given to us. This will be found out from your code book. Okay, this will be found from a code book. This will be given to you, and we can calculate all the other things. Okay, so I have told you how to use this particular code book to find this FPU and XU by D. Okay, XU by D, we will look into that when we solve problems. Okay. Then for flanged sections, or when your neutral axis is below your depth of your flange. Okay, when your neutral axis is within the web. Okay, so we have studied this particular thing. So we have derived this particular formula, right? So mu, or moment of resistance or flexural strength, is equals to, right, FPU. This is for web, okay, and this part is for flange. Okay, this part is for flange. So FPU APW here. Similarly, what you can do, instead of this whole thing, you can write as FPU into APF. Okay, so this is what the full form of this is written over here. So you can use this, and D minus 0.42 XU, it is same. Here we have to add one more bracket over here, that is D minus 0.5 DF. Okay, so these two formulas we will be requiring to solve your numericals. So one more important formula that you have to remember is this one, APF. Okay, APF formula you have to remember that this is also very important. We will be requiring this particular formula. Okay, so once you know APF, right, APF is here, which we have calculated. All the things will be known. APW also we can calculate right from here. APW we can calculate. DXU, all these things are known. You can substitute and you can find out moment of resistance. So this is just a preface before we start with your numericals. Okay. So this is the first numerical. I hope you can see it on the screen. So can anyone please read out the problem statement for me? Okay, so Shubham, are you there? Shubham Malji? Shubham?
Yes, sir.
Yes, can you please read the problem statement?
Yes, sir. The pretest concrete beam. Sir, this is triangle, rectangle.
Rectangular. Rectangular.
Rectangle in cross section 200 mm by 500 mm. Deep is pre-traced by tenders having an area of 600 mm square located at 100 mm from soffit of the beam. FCK is equal to 40 Newton per mm square and FP is equal to 1600 Newton per mm square. Estimate the ultimate flexural strength of the beam for the following cases as per IS code recommendation. First one, if the beam is pre-tensioned. Second one, if the beam is post-tension with effective bond. Thank you, sir.
Hello, hello, hello. Are you able to hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Clear. My voice is clear. No problem.
Yes,
No
sir.
problem, sir.
Okay. Give me a minute. Okay. 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 Moving on. So they have told us to calculate the moment of resistance. Okay. The ultimate flexural strength, or what we call as MOR, at the formula which we have derived. Those things we have to now we have to use this particular formula, right? Moment of resistance formula, MR. You have to calculate. So we need all these things. We need AP, we need FPU, we need D, that effective depth, and we need XU. Okay. So FPU, this particular thing, FPU and XU, we will get from the code book. Okay, and these things we need to calculate AP and D. Okay. So this is a rectangular section. You can see rectangular depth is 500, depth is 500, and then breadth is 200 mm, no problem. Area of the pre-stressed tendon is given, AP is given, no problem. FCK, FP is also given. Okay. Then case one, we have two cases. The first case says we have to calculate the flexural strength as a pre-tension beam. Okay. From table number 11, page number 59. Okay. So let me just share this particular table with you. IS code I'll share. Okay, there you can observe this particular table. Okay, so is the table visible? Table number 11, here you can observe, this is table number 11.
Visible, sir.
Okay, so this is for both pre-tensioned and post-tension beams. Okay, this table is applicable for both pre-tension as well as post-tension, but only in case of effective bond.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Okay, when your beam has effective bond, you have to make use of this particular table. Okay. Okay, is my voice clear now, or is it breaking up? Is it clear now? I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir. Now it's clear.
Yes.
It is clear, no problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this particular values I have substituted. Okay, AP, FP, BD, FCK, all these values I have substituted. And what I've done, I have calculated it. It is come as 0.3. Okay, and in the question they have told the first case, that is pre-tension. Okay, pre-tension. So we will be using this particular column. Pre-tension, you can see I have underlined it. Okay. So for pre-tensioned and for 0.3, this is equal to what? 1. Okay, 1. What is equal to 1? This particular term is equal to 1. This particular term is equal to 1. Okay, and this XU by D for pre-tension beam and 0.3 is how much? 0.655. Okay, so this is equal to 0.655.
Sir, can you explain the table again, sir? Maybe, yeah.
Just a minute. Okay, so this is what AP into FP by BDFCK. AP into FP by BDFCK. AP is given to us. AP, that is area of steel, is given 1600, I think, right? FP is the pre-stressing force, stress, right? Pre-stressing stress, that is also given. B, and B is the cross-sectional area, that is also given, and FCK, that is also mentioned. So all these values which are given, you have to substitute and find that particular value. So it is equal to 0.3. Once you substitute all these values, you will get the answer as 0.3. Okay, so 0.3 is here. Okay, so this is for this particular column. Then we have been given to consider the beam as pre-tensioned. Okay, pre-tension. So we have to use this particular column which I have underlined over here. Okay, so for 0.3, the value for pre-tension beam is 1. Okay, the value of pre-tension beam is 1. What is the value 1 for? It is for this particular term. It is equal to 1. And this particular XU by D term is equal to 0.655. 0.655. Okay, so you have to, what you have to do, you have to derive this particular thing, 0.3, whatever value you get. For that, you have to check whether a beam is pre-tensioned or post-tensioned, and then you have to take out the value. Okay, you have to write this particular formula. You have to write this particular formula in a notebook and equate it to the value which you have got. Okay, let me just come back to your problem. Okay, so this is what you have derived from the table, right? FPU by 0.8 F7 0.87 FP is equals to 1, right? Is equals to 1 from the first, from the second column we have taken out, right? So this, so here FP is known, FPU is unknown, FPU is unknown, right? We need this FPU, right? FPU. So this we have derived from the table. We have derived from the table. So 0.7 into FP, that into 1, right? Into 1. So this will come over here. So FPU is equals to 1392 Newton per mm squared. Okay. The second thing that we derived from the table was this XU by D is equals to 0.655, right? This is the second thing which we have taken out from the table. So XU is unknown, which we need to find out. D is known, right? Effective depth is known, no problem. So 0.655 and D will come on this side. So it will be multiplied by 400, which is the effective depth. So that is 262 mm, 262 mm. So we have found out the distance XU, right? XU, neutral axis distance, we have found out. We have found out FPU, all the other things are known. So we can substitute back in this particular formula, right? MR, or moment of resistance, or ultimate flexural strength, is equal to FPU, which is here, FPU 1392 into AP is the area of steel, and then this D is effective depth. XU we have calculated as 262. So substitute all this, make sure your units are proper, make sure all the units are proper, you substitute, and then you will get answer 242.17 kilonewton meter. So this is moment of resistance, okay? MU or MOR, whatever you can denote it as, MU. Okay, so yes.
Yes, sir.
Sir, XU in mm. XU in mm.
XU. This particular thing,
Sir,
XU.
XU in
It is XU is in mm. XU is in mm. It is nothing but the distance of a neutral axis. Okay, XU from the top.
Sir, that's okay, sir. But the final answer in kilonewton meter, sir.
Yes, yes. So you calculate this in your calculator. Your
All
answer,
are in mm.
answer you will get in mm. Okay, Newton mm you will get answer. But what they have done, they have converted Newton mm because it will come in 10 power 6, 10 power 9, some value it will come. So they have converted it to kilonewton meter. Okay, understood?
Yes, sir.
So the answer, once you substitute this in calculator, you will get some big value into 10 power 8 or 10 power 6 Newton mm you will get. Okay, so after that you convert it to kilonewton meter. Okay, divided by 1000 to get kilo, and then divided by again 1000 to convert it to meters. Okay, so this is for when you assume your beam is a pre-tension beam. Okay, next is when you consider your beam as a post-tension beam. Okay, now we are going to consider our beam as post-tension one. Okay, so you can see the case B is post-tension. Okay, so from same table number 11, So this value will not change. AP, FP by BD, FCK. This is what you have to calculate first. It is 0.3. So in the table now, let me share the table. Okay. So is the table visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So from table number 11, this value we have calculated, it is nothing but 0.3. 0.3. So 0.3, you have to check where it is here. Okay, so if you do not have a whole number like this, if you have some in-between value, what you have to do, you have to interpolate. Now our beam is post-tensioned one, your beam is post-tensioned. So for 0.3 and post-tension, it is 0.85. So this term we have to equate it to 0.85. Okay, and next XU by D is equals to what? Can you tell me? It is
0.55.
0.558. Correct, 0.558. So these two we'll write in our notebook now. Here you can see, so FPU is this particular term is equated to 0.85 and we have calculated FPU. Okay, also XU by D 0.558, which you have told me, right? So D you multiply with this, you will get XU in mm. Okay, so substitute that back in your moment of resistance formula, you will get the ultimate flexural strength of your PSC beam. Okay, so this is regarding a very simple problem for you to understand. So is this a particular problem clear? How to use the table number 11 also, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Understood, no problem. Okay, so moving on to second numerical. Okay, a pre-tension beam. Here we have a pre-tension beam. Okay, so T section we are having T section. Here you can observe T section. All the dimensions are provided, no problem. Then depth of the slab, depth of the rib, all those things are given. Area of tensile steel AP. AP is given 4700, located at an effective depth of 1600 mm. So small d is given to us. Small d, okay, small d is given. Effective depth. Next, if the characteristic cube strength of concrete and steel, okay, characteristic strength of cube, this is what FCK, characteristic cube strength of concrete, and then this is 1600 Newton per mm square is the characteristic strength of steel. Okay, we will be needing these values. Calculate the flexural strength at the limit of collapse in the flexure for the T beam as per IS 1343 recommendations. So we'll write down whatever is given. AP is given, FCK is given, FP is also given. Now what we will do, we will assume that our neutral axis is within the flange. Okay, neutral axis is within the flange, we will assume. So it will behave like a rectangular section. It will behave like a rectangular section. So we will apply the formula which is used for rectangle, right? Which will be requiring for rectangle, right? The first this particular formula we will be applying. So what we need FPU, we need XU, right? We need XU and we need FPU. So this will be taken from what? This will be taken from table number 11. Table number 11. Okay, so the depth of neutral axis lies within the flange. We have assumed that XU is less than DF, XU is less than DF, meaning this is the depth of our flange is 150 mm and our neutral axis is lying within the flange. So your XU value will be lesser than your depth of flange. Okay, so we have what? We have to first calculate this particular value. B, what you have to use the breadth of your flange. Okay, BF you have to use. Okay, not of the web. You have to use BF over here. So AP is 4. The value is 0.3. 0.098, 0.098. So we will calculate only XU by D first. We will calculate what? We will calculate first XU by D. Okay, we will check whether the assumption what we have done is correct or whether it is valid or whether we have assumed wrong. So first we will calculate XU by D. Okay, so 0.098, remember this value. Okay, so coming to your table number 11, let us check where is 0.098. 0.098 is where it will come here, right? 0.098 in between, correct?
Yes, sir.
It is coming in between these two values, right? Correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
0.098.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Yes, no problem. So we will calculate first XU by D. Okay, we will calculate XU by D first. We will check whether our assumption is correct. So XU by D for pre-tension, right? Our beam is pre-tensioned. So we have to consider these two values. These two values. What you have to do now? We have to interpolate, right? 0.109 and 0.217. Correct? We have to interpolate now, and we have to find out for 0.098 what is the particular value of this XU by D. Okay, we will move back to our notebook. So here, so from table number 11, 0.01, 0.05 is taken from table. This value is also taken from table. This is unknown, right? We need to find for 0.098. So you can interpolate, right? You know how to interpolate. I hope you know how to interpolate. So if you interpolate, you will get the value of XU by D as 0.0, sorry, 0.212. Okay. So what is the value of XU? XU value is 339 mm. Say 340 mm. Okay, 340 mm. What is the depth of flange? It is 150 mm. So is our assumption correct?
Sir, wrong.
We have assumed wrong. Have we done correctly or have we done wrong?
So voice is breaking, sir.
Yes. Our assumption is correct or our assumption is wrong?
Wrong, sir. Wrong, sir.
Wrong, right? Our assumption is wrong because you can see that the XU value is greater than DF, right? The voice is breaking.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Voice is breaking. Sir.
Just a minute, okay? Just a minute.
Hello, hello, hello. नागिन कट केलं म्हणणार
रामिद्रा
Okay, sorry for the network problem. Is it fine now? Are you able to hear me clearly? I hope
Yes,
so.
sir.
Okay, okay. So XU by D, which we have assumed, right? Which we have assumed, and which we have assumed, like we have assumed that XU lies within the flange, but we can see that XU value is greater than the depth of flange. So our neutral axis is not within the flange; it is in the web. It is in the web portion. So you have to write the statement that assumption is wrong, and then you have to use the other technique of solving the problem, right? You have to solve using the other formula, the second formula. Okay, neutral axis lies outside the flange, that is XU is greater than DF. Okay, now the same thing which we have calculated here, right? Same thing, AP FP by BD FCK. Here the same thing which we have to calculate. Now we have to calculate the same thing, but here now what we have to do, instead of APF, okay, APW, we have to calculate APW into FP divided by BW, because our neutral axis is in the web, right? So web thickness we have to take into D into FCK. Okay, so we have to use this particular thing. Okay, to refer our table number 11, we have to calculate this. Okay. So BW is known, all these things are known. APW is unknown here, right? APW is the unknown thing. So we have to calculate APW first. So to calculate APW, we have to first calculate APF. Okay, APF we need to calculate first, and from APF we will calculate APW. Okay, so APF formula we have with ourselves. APF formula we have 0.45 FCK BF minus BW DF by FP. Okay, so this formula you have to remember. You have to then what you can do, you can substitute all these values. FCK we know, BF what is the width of flange we know, width of web also we know, then depth of flange, and then what is this FP, characteristic strength of steel. Okay, all these values we have substituted. We have got the value of APF. Okay, APF as 1518, 1518. Then what is AP is equals to? AP is equals to area of steel in web plus area of steel in flange. Okay, total, it is the total thing. Okay, so AP we know AP is given to us, right? 4700, this is given to us. APF we have calculated. So if you minus from total, if you minus the area of flange, okay, area of steel in flange, you will get the area of steel in web, that is 3181.25 mm squared. Okay, now we can substitute back in this formula. APW we can substitute 3118 here, right? We have substituted that. FP BW, right? 300 D FCK. All these things we have substituted. We have got the value as 0.265. 0.265. Now moving back to table number 11. Table number
Sir,
11.
AP is total area of steel, sir.
Which one?
That AP minus APF you have done now.
This particular thing.
Yes, sir.
Right, AP is the total thing, right? AP is area of steel which is provided, total area of steel. So it is including what area of steel
Web and
provided in
flange.
web and flange also. Flange we have calculated a total area we know, so we can minus from total flange, and we will get your web area of steel in web. Okay, so we have calculated this term. It is 0.265. 0.265. Okay, so where is 0.265 now? Where is 0.265? It is 0.265. It is here, correct? No,
0.3, sir.
0.25 and 0.3, correct. It is the next one. It is here. 0.25 and 0.3. It is in between these things. Okay. So is it a pre-tension beam or is it a post-tension beam? Pre-tension or post-tension? Let me check. I think it is a post-tension.
Pre-tension.
Okay, it is pre-tension, correct. Pre-tension. So it is pre-tensioned beam. So you have to consider these two values, and we have to consider these two values, right, for XU by D and for this particular thing. Right, we have to consider these two. We have to interpolate. So what is our value? 0.26, right? 26. Okay, coming back, you have to note down. You have to note down from the table. You have to note down that from the table and come back to your notebook. Okay, from table number 11, right? We have taken this XU by D. Right, we have to find out the interpolate and find out the middle value, that is regarding our 0.265. we have to calculate. We have calculated, and what is XU now? XU, we have got it as 921 mm, 921 mm. Okay, assumption is correct, right? Assumption is correct, meaning XU is lying within the web, no problem. Then FPU value, we need FPU. This is also got from table, right? Interpolate and find this middle value. So we have got the middle value and we have substituted. We have got the FPU value as 1392 Newton per mm squared. Okay. So we know the formula for MOR, moment of resistance. It is, this part is for web, this part is for flange. Okay, so FPU is common everywhere. This is APW. Okay, APW. Here it is APF. Okay, D minus 0.42 XU, D minus DF by 2. Okay, you know all these things, all these values are known. We can substitute and we can calculate the moment of resistance. It is coming as 9076, right? 9077, almost kilonewton meter. Is it clear? Is this numerical clear? If you have any doubt, please let me know. I hope it is clear. Is it clear, guys? No problem?
Yes, sir.
No problem. Others also please reply.
Yes, sir.
Sanket,
sir.
Ranganath. Then we have Prerna,
Sir.
Salahuddin,
Yes, sir.
Shravan.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on. So can anyone please read this statement for me? Can you read the particular this third problem statement? Salahuddin, are you there? Salahuddin, can you please read? Can you do the honors?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Tensioned with unbounded tendon is of rectangular cross section B equal to 500 mm and D equal to 1000 mm. The cross section area of pre-stressing steel is 3000 mm square. The effective pre-stress after considering all losses is 1000 MPa. The effective span of the beam made up of M40 concrete is 15 meter. Estimate the ultimate moment of resistance of the section using codal provision.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So we have a rectangular section. All these values are given. AP is given. Effective stress is given to us. Okay, effective stress is given after all the losses. Then a length of the section is given. Length of the section 15 meters. Then FCK is 40 Newton per mm squared. That is M40 is given to us. No problem. Then use FPE when effective pre-stress is after considering all losses, right? Do not use FP. Use FPE because the losses have been given to us in question, right? So considering the losses, FPE will be the effective stress after all the losses. So this thing we have to consider. Next, from table number 12, we have to find out, because this is what, this is a post-tension beam, and the other important thing is this is unbonded. Okay, unbonded. Table number 11 is applied only for bonded tendons. Okay, when you are dealing with unbonded tendons, you have to go for the next table, that is table number 12. Okay, so we need to find this particular term first, AP FP by BD FCK. Okay, instead of FP, we are using the effective stress over here. So substitute all these values. We have got the particular term, this particular term value as 0.15. Okay, so from the table we have to find out different things now. The same thing, like which it will not be the same as your table number 11. We have a few different things regarding table number 12. Let me just share the table number 12 with you. Okay, so is the table visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this table we have used for bonded tendons. Okay, this table we have used for bonded tendons. This will be used for unbonded tendons. Okay, it is for unbonded. Similarly, the this thing is divided into pre-tension, post-tension, all those things. Okay, so here you can see, okay, so it will not have pretension, sorry, it will not have pretension because unbonded will be only in post tension, right? Post tension, because all pre-tension beams will be bonded ones. Okay, only post tension beams are considered when you are in this particular table, okay, unbonded. Okay, so this particular term we have found out what was the value of this term.
0.15.
0.15. So it is here 0.15. You can observe it is here. Okay, so L by D. Okay, L by D ratio. L by D ratio. We have to find out first length by depth of the beam. Effective span by effective depth. Okay, effective span by effective depth. What was that value? We have to calculate. Let us see what is that value. Okay, this is effective span by effective depth. So effective span was 15 meters. Effective depth is 1 meter, right? 1 meter. I think it is 1 meter, right? Correct. Effective depth is 1 meter. So 15 by 1 is nothing but 15. Okay, 15. So coming back to the table, So what is the effective depth? Sorry, L by D ratio. It is 15. It is in between. It is in between. It is here, right? So this is your effective depth values, effective span by effective depth values. You have to refer this particular thing. So it is neither 10 nor 20. It is in between. It is 15. So what you have to do, we have to interpolate now. So we have to take these two values and we have to interpolate and we have to find for 15. Okay, so from here we will get FPU by FPE value. FPU by FPE value we will be getting from after interpolation. Okay, from here what we will be getting, okay, from here we will be getting XU by D, XU by D. So effective span by effective depth is how much? 15, right? 15. It is here again, it is in between. So we have to check for 0.15 and 15. So we have to use these two values and we have to interpolate and we have to find this particular intermediate value. And that we have to equate to what? XU by D. We have to equate it to XU by D. Okay, so remember these values: 0.2, 1.36, 0.46, 0.52. Okay, so moving on. Coming back to the notebook. Okay, so FPU by FP, this value after interpolation we have got as how much? 0.128. Okay, 0.128.
1.28.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you try and interpolate, you will get the same value, okay? The 1.28, 1.28. So FPU by FPE value, okay, is equals to 1.28. So we need FPU value, right? FPU value, we need FP value is already given to us, right? Effective stress is given. So you take that to the other side. So it will be multiplied by 1000, right? FPE is 1000 Newton per mm square. So multiply, you will get FPU, okay? FPU is done. Next, XU by D value. XU by D, you can interpolate it for 15, right? Interpolate for 15. So XU by D value is 0.49, 0.49, right? It is in between these two values, right? It is in between these two
FPU
values.
not understand.
Which part you didn't understand?
FPU. FPU.
Yes, sir.
This part you didn't understand how to calculate. Table, have you understood the table?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
How we have it taken it out from table, you have understood? No problem. So what we'll do is we'll try to interpolate. Okay, we'll try to interpolate. So 1.2 and 1.36. Remember these two values, 1.2 and 1.36. So let me draw a baseline. So for 15, sorry, ours is 15. So this is 10 and 20. Ours is in between 15. So this value from table is how much? From the table it is 1.2, and for 20 it is 1.36. 1.36. Okay, so join these two. Join these. Okay, so we need this. We need this particular height. This we know it is how much? 1.2. This height is nothing but 1.2. This height you can calculate by interpolation. Right? This height you can calculate by interpolation. Say some height x. Okay, 1.2 plus x will give you your value. Will give you your value for 15. Will give you a value for 15. Okay, so it has come for one. It has come as 1.28. 1.28 at FPU by FPE. It has come as 1.28. So FPU we need, okay, this particular value we need, this is already known to us. This is known to us. This is nothing but 1000, which is given in question. Okay, so what we will do, this we will take on the other side. So FPU is equals to 1.28 into 1000. Okay, so that is what we have done over here. So we will get the value of FPU as 1280. So is it clear, or should I interpolate and show?
Sir, 1.2 plus 1.6 divided by 2 is ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿರಿ sir ಅಲ್ಲ?
ಅದು interpolation ಮಾಡ್ಯಾರ್ರಿ. There are various methods you
Direct
can do
average.
for interpolation. You can take average, no, you can take average, because you can see here
In
this is
between.
10.
Every
And
time
here it
average
is-
ಬರುತ್ತೆ sir, every
No,
time
no, no,
average.
every time ಬರಲ್ಲ.
It is at the
Here-
center.
Here we have got 15 as the ratio here.
Center.
L by D we have got, no, L by D ratio we have got as 15. Okay, so this value is between 10 and 20. Correct, it is between 10 and 20. It is at the center. So what they have done, they have taken average. So every time it will not be center, it may be 12, it may be 17 might come, right? This ratio will vary. But in this particular problem, we have got 15, which is in between 10 and 20. So because of that, they have done average over here. They have
Average.
done average. Correct, understood?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Illandre what you have to do, you have to take, you have to interpolate in this format. Okay, what I've drawn over here. You can make use of a formula directly, or you can draw this particular triangle and a rectangle and you can interpolate. You can also do it directly in Calci. Do you know the procedure of doing interpolation in calculator?
Yes, sir.
Right? So that is very useful in our exam. You can directly interpolate in calculator. Okay, instead of this long method, you can directly input the values in calculator and you can interpolate. Okay. So FPU value I found out. Similarly, XU by D you can interpolate. So here also they have taken average, okay, because it is center, or it is between 10 and 20. At the center it is 15. So they have taken average. So it has come as 0.49. So XU value will be what? D, this D will go on the other side. So it will become 490 mm. Correct, 490 mm. So we can substitute in the MOR formula, moment of resistance formula. FPU we have found out. AP is known, D is also known, XU we have calculated, okay, 490. So substitute all these values, take care of units, and then you can write it in kilonewton meter. 3050 kilonewton meter is the moment of resistance of this particular beam. Okay, flexural resistance to be precise. Okay, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತ್ರಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ? Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Clear,
Sir.
no problem.
Yes, sir.
Teju Patta.
So the value we got after interpolation, no, it is in meters, no, sir? We are converting into mm
It is in
by
meters.
by multiplying
value?
1000.
Which value?
So that XU by D value and this one
No,
FPU
that
equal.
is not. That is not in meters. Okay, that is not in meters. This thing we have multiplied 1000. Why we have multiplied 1000? Because FPE value is 1000. Okay, this value is going
Okay,
over
okay.
here.
Effective value, yes.
Effective is 1000. Okay, so this
Yes.
is unitless. This value is unitless because you can see this is also stress. This is also stress. This is unitless. Similarly, XU by D. This is in mm. This is in mm. So the particular value which you get over here, it is unitless. It is not having any units.
Okay, yes.
Okay. So I hope you have understood. So can we move on to the next numerical?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very easy, right? Very easy. But design problems will be tougher. This is just analysis. Okay, analysis we are dealing with now. These are very easy. Design will be a bit complicated than this. Okay. So can anyone please read out the fourth statement for me? I see Channa Basu is here. Channa Basu, are you there? Can you read the statement, please? Okay, Vinayak, you can read. Vinayak Pujari.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can read, please.
A symmetrical double T section has flange width of 1200 mm total and 140 mm thick. The overall depth of beam is 1700 mm. The member is prestressed with an effective prestressing force of 7500 kilonewton. The cable located at distance of 150 mm from the socket The characteristic strength of concrete is 40 Newton per mm square. Assuming that grouting is 100% effective, determine ultimate moment of resistance.
Okay, thank you. So you can see we have a double T section. Okay, we have a double T section. No problem. The flange width is 1200. Okay, BF. Then this is BW 150. Thickness of your web. Okay, then depth D, effective depth is given as 1550. Okay, this is the overall depth. Do not use this depth. Okay, this is capital D. Do not use this depth. We have to use effective depth, right? Up to your level of steel. Okay, the depth of flange is 140 mm. No problem. So what else they have given us? What else they have given? Pre-stress with the effective pre-stress of this effective pre-stress is given. No problem. Kilonewton it is given in. Okay, it is given in terms of force through a cable located at a distance of 150 mm from the soffit. Okay, and then characteristic FCK value is given as 40. FCK is 40. Assuming that grouting is 100% effective, meaning it is a bonded tendon, right? It is a bonded tendon. So it is a post-tension beam. Because of that, it is been taken as because of that it is grouted, right? Only post-tension beams are grouted.
Sir, grouted means what, sir?
Grouting meaning putting your cement slurry inside your duct. No, after you pre-stress and after you apply your anchor, there is gap between your suppose this is your duct, and this is your steel wire or a tendon. Right, there is gap here. You can see there is a lot of gap. So that gap is filled by grout. Grout is later on injected, right? Cement slurry or other chemicals are mixed, right? Epoxy and all those things, and then this part is grouted. Okay, so that there is a proper bond and your steel does not move inside your duct. Okay, so this is grouting. So they have told us that grouting is 100% effective, meaning proper grouting is there, proper bonding is there. Next, this is I have told you pre-stressing force is given, so we need to calculate stress. Okay, convert force to stress. How do we convert that? Divide by the area of steel. Okay, area of steel we have divided AP, right? AP is not given. I guess AP is not given. Force is given and stress is also given, right? Stress is also given. Stress is given. Force is given. We do not have area of steel. So area of steel will be what? P by FP. So area of steel we have found out, no problem, 4,600. Now first statement what you have to do, assuming that neutral axis is lying outside the flange. Why have we assumed it lying outside the flange and not inside the flange? Why have we assumed the second case as the first case? Usually we assume that the neutral axis is lying within the flange, no? The first case what we do. But why have we adopted it in the reverse format over here? What logic can you think of? Why have they done?
Because two webs are there.
Two webs are there. Can you explain a bit in detail? Why? What happens if we have two webs?
So the weight adds up, no, sir?
Right. So, okay. So I think you are, you know why it is provided, but you are unable to explain.
CG, sir. CGC will be.
Right. CGC will be here, no, because of the weight distribution. You are saying that CGC will automatically shift downwards. It will be somewhere here, right? Okay. So that is the logic which you have applied. And one more thing is, why will they provide two webs, right? Why will they provide two webs? Because the neutral axis is below. That's why they have provided two webs, right? So if it was over here, what was the need to provide two webs, right? So that is the logic behind why they have used the second case and assumed the second case as the first case. Okay, XU is assumed to be greater than DF. Now we have to calculate the value of XU and we have to check whether our assumption is correct or assumption is wrong. Okay, so this particular value we need to calculate for referring the table, right? APW by FP divided by BW FCK. Okay, here PW is used, APW and BW is used. Okay, so APW we do not know, APW we do not know. So APW is calculated from this particular thing as we have done previously, right? APW we have to calculate. APF first we need to calculate for that. APF formula we have 0.45 FCK BF minus BW DF by FP. Okay, all these values are known. You can substitute and you will get the value of APF. Okay, area of total steel, we know area of total steel we have calculated. So minus total steel minus APF steel, we will get APW. Now we will substitute all those here. We have got the value as 0.28, 0.28. Okay, so which table we'll be using now? Which table we will be using? Table number 11 or table number 12?
11.
11, right? Why are we going for table number 11? Why are we going for table number 11? The main difference, I'll underline and you have to read, I'll underline, sir. Okay. See, this is the important thing, why we have to refer for table number 11 and 12. This is the main differentiation. Unbonded and bonded tendon, right? Depends upon bonding, right? Grouting, what you are telling, correct. So because in the question they have mentioned that there is effective bond, right? Effective grouting is there. So there is effective bond. Hence we have to refer this particular table, okay? Table number 11. Okay, so AP, what was the value of this particular term? What was the value? Can you recall? We have calculated just now.
0.28.
0.28, no, 0.28. So it falls in between these two values. Okay, so it is what? A post tension beam, right? It is a post tension beam because grouting is done in post tension. Okay, post tension grouting is needed. It is not needed in pre-tension. Okay, so we have to interpolate and we have to find out our values. Okay, so these values are taken from table and they have equated to this particular value and we have to interpolate and then find out. Okay, so you can see we have taken XU by D first, XU by D we have taken. So it is in between, right? In between. So we have to interpolate and after interpolation we have found that it is 0.53 after interpolation. Okay, so XU value is what? XU value is 821 mm, 821 mm. So our assumption is correct. Assumption is correct. No problem. DF value was how much? DF value, DF is 140. 140 and the neutral axis depth we have got how much? How much have we got?
827 something.
829, I think 829. So you can see clearly it is larger. So neutral axis is in the web. Okay, our assumption is correct. No problem. Okay, 821. Okay, 821 mm. Okay, assumption is correct. No problem. Next, for this particular value, for this particular term, we have to interpolate, right? Interpolate, and we have to find out. So we have found out after interpolation, it is 0.87, 0.87. So FPU, we need FPU, all the for FPU we have calculated. So it is 1211. Okay. So this big formula we have, right, for web and for flange. Substitute all these values. We know all these values now. FPU is known, right? FPU we have it is known. APW we have calculated. XU also we have calculated. APF also is known. All these things substitute. Okay, take care of the units while substituting, and you can see it is coming in 10 power 9 Newton mm. Right? I've told you it will come as a very large value. So you can divide this by 1000 and convert it to kilonewton. Divide again by 1000. Convert Newton mm to meter, mm to meter. So in the end, you can write in kilonewton meter. Okay, it is 8,128 kilonewton meter. It is a very large value, right? 10 power 9. So you can see the flexural strength of a PSC beam is very high, right? So it can handle very much large bending moments, right? So very large bending moment, very large loads it can handle. Okay, so this is regarding your 100% grouted beam. Okay, 100% grouting, meaning we have effective bond. And one more thing is grouting is only done in post tension beams. Okay, so while refer for post tension, do not refer for pre tension. Okay, so is this clear numerical? Is this numerical clear? Double T beam, very easy, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So moving on. Here you can see we have a symmetric eye section. Let us go through the details of this. So pre-tension beam, clearly they have mentioned pre-tension, no problem. Eye section, details of the section are given. Okay, beam is pre-stressed with 4 high tensile steel wires of 7 mm each. Okay, 4 wires of 7 mm dia. Okay. And the effective depth of the beam is 265. Okay, which is mentioned over here, small d. Okay, FCK value is given, no problem. FP value is given. We have to find the ultimate flexural strength, or what we call as moment of resistance of the beam. Okay, also denoted as MU. So AP value we can calculate. AP value is what here I have written, right? 4 number of bars of 7 mm dia. So pi by 4 into 7 squared into 4. At pi by 4 into 7 square is for one cable or one wire. And how many wires we have? We have 4 number of wires. So AP value will be 153. Okay, so this term we can find out next. Okay, AP into FP by BF D FCK, because it is a symmetric thing, right? So neutral axis will be over here. Neutral axis will be here. Right, let us check whether neutral axis, right, it is 68, it is 68, right? Neutral axis will be in this region, right? Obviously it will be in this region somewhere over here. So but what they have done, they have taken first APBF, meaning they have assumed that the neutral axis lies within the flange. Okay, they have taken that the neutral axis lies within the flange, first case, meaning they have assumed that it lies somewhere over here. Okay, so the first case we will check whether the neutral axis is lying within the flange. Let us check for that. So AP FP by BD FCK, but since we are assumed that it is lying within the flange, so flange width, you have to take flange width, that is 160. Okay, so if you assume that it is in the web portion, then you have to take the thickness of web. Okay, BW will come. Okay, so but that is not the case now. We are assuming that it is in TF, so we are taking BF. Okay, width of the flange we are taking. No problem. So substituting all these values, our thing or the term value is coming as 0.12. Okay, then neutralize this from the table. We can take the table number 11, right? Table number 11 and pretension beam. So interpolation is needed because value is 0.12, right? 0.12, which is lying between 0.1, 0.15. So interpolate and find out, and hence we have found that the XU value, the neutral axis is where neutral axis is lying 68 mm from the top. 68 mm from the top. So what is the flange depth? What is the flange depth? It is 70 mm, right? It is 70 mm. You can see it is 70. So you can see that 68, it is lesser than 70. Hence our assumption is correct. Okay, neutral axis is lying within the flange. No problem. Assumption is correct. Okay, surprising, very surprising. Okay, no problem. It is very easy for us to solve now, no problem. So you can calculate FPU, right? FPU you can calculate from the same table number 11. FPU is got as 1, right? So 1 is got, so multiply that 0.87 into FP multiplied by 1. So I've got FP value. You can substitute back in the MOR, moment of resistance formula, and you can calculate the moment of resistance. Okay, you can do that as a homework. Okay, so that is regarding this particular problem. So it seems a very complicated problem, right? We have an I section, all those things, but if you just check with the first case itself, it is falling true, it is coming as true. So no need of going for the second thing. Calculation is very easy. Okay, so in the exam, don't be scared by the looks of the numerical. Just go through, just try to solve it. You will find out that it is very easy. Okay, so I assume if it is not within this particular range, if it was not within the range, what we have to do if it is not in the range. Okay, so
Sir, how to guess that assumption, sir?
So here what they have done is they have assumed directly, because the thing is they will be knowing the results. Based on that, they will be forming the question, right? So they know the thing, so only they have done. But in exam, you have to do trial and error, right? In exam, you have to do trial and error. You have to assume the first thing, and then if it fails, then you have to go for the second thing. In exam,
These are video notes, sir.
which is what was the question?
Sir, these notes are from video website, sir.
These notes are from textbook. your Krishna Raju textbook. Krishna Raju, if you have, you can refer. Same thing are there in the textbook. Krishna Raju, right? Here you can see.
Okay.
This is Krishna Raju textbook which we are referring, right? You can see
Yes.
this convention we are using. Okay, Krishna Raju. There is no such thing as VTU notes. Okay, VTU does not provide any notes. Okay, VTU e-learning is there, but hardly some subjects are there, or all subjects are not there in that. Okay, so and such schemes are changing every year and two, so VTU has stopped giving notes. So some major subject notes you can find on VTU site. Okay, VTU e-learning is there. Okay, so assumption, regarding assumption, make sure there is no hard and fast rule, no thumb rule, right? So it is what you have to do. You have to assume the first thing, and if it fails, then go for the second thing. Because if you go directly for the second thing, and you might not check whether it is over here. So make sure you go serially. Okay, first you check for this case, then go for the harder one. Okay, check for the easier one first. Don't check the harder one first, and then go for the easier one. Okay, so this is regarding I section. Moving on to a unsymmetric beam. Okay, unsymmetric beam. You can see we have an unsymmetric I section over here. Unsymmetric. The previous one was a symmetric beam. Okay, an unsymmetrical I section bridge girder has the following sectional properties. The sectional properties are given. Centroid location is also given. Centroid is located at 580 mm from the top. Okay, 580 mm from the top. You can see this is given over here. This is CG. CG of concrete is given. Next, the tendons. Okay, the girder is used over a span of 40 meter. Span, you can see it is 40 meter, very large span. You can just imagine, span is 40 meters, very large span. The tendons are unbonded. Okay, very important. They have given here, it is unbonded. Okay, unbonded, meaning you have to refer the table number 12. Okay, the tendon have a cross section of 7,000 mm squared with a parabolic eccentricity of 1220 mm at the center of the span. Okay, eccentricity, FCK is given. Effective pre-stressing value is given, no problem. We have to determine ultimate flexural strength. Okay, so where is this eccentricity used now? Where is this eccentricity used? This is used over here to calculate D, right? Small d. Eccentricity, they have mentioned how much? This thing.
100.
1200 is the parabolic, right? The tendon are unbonded with cross section, are parabolic with eccentricity 1200 mm at the center of the span. Okay, at the center of the span, but why have they taken this 1800? Why have they taken this 1800? Can you identify?
Sir, effective depth of steel, sir.
Effective depth of steel, where have they mentioned this 1800, or they have they calculated this 1800? Okay, the total depth of the beam. Okay, the total thickness of okay, this is the thickness, width and thickness. No problem. Width and thickness is given. Okay, unsymmetric I section is given. Centroid of the section is given. Web thickness is given. Nowhere they have mentioned the effective depth in the question. This depth is not mentioned anywhere. Can you find out where this
XU by D, sir. They might have done it there.
XU by D, but XU is unknown. D is also unknown over there. No, from XU by D, say some value 1.2. So what we do to calculate XU, we take it over here and we multiply D, which is known. But here D is also unknown, XU is also unknown. This is not XU. I think this is not XU. This is the centroid of the concrete. CGC they have given us 580. Let us check what have they done. Right, XU they have calculated later on. You can check the XU. So I think this is given, this particular figure is given to us. Okay,
yes.
in this they have, this is given, and this is mentioned in the figure itself. Okay, so D
Yes.
is mentioned, it is not given in the question, it is mentioned in the diagram. Okay, so let us not worry about this. We will calculate the remaining things. Okay, so this is given, we will think that this is given because this is not mentioned anywhere in the question. So this is given, D is given to us. So because this is unbonded, okay, this is unbonded, a beam. that tendons are unbonded. So we have to go for table number 12. Okay, so table number 12 is of a different criteria wherein you can see we have to calculate what effective span by effective depth, that we need to calculate that along with this particular equation. Along with this particular term, we have to calculate span by depth. Okay, span by depth, that is necessary. So we will do that. So span by depth is effective span by effective depth. Effective span is 40 meters. Effective depth is 1800. So this is coming out as 22.22. No problem. So that is done. Then the term which we need to calculate, that is APW by FP by BW, BWD FCK. So what they have done is they have assumed that the neutral axis lies outside the flange. They have assumed that the neutral axis lies outside the flange, not within the flange. It is somewhere here below the flange. So they have assumed that. Then APW, it is not known. APW is not known. BW, all these other things are known. So to calculate APW, first we have to calculate APF. APF, we have a formula to calculate APF. You can substitute all these values. You can calculate APF. Okay, all these values are given, no problem. What is APW? Total area of steel minus APF, which we have just calculated, will give you APW. So APW into FP by BW. Okay, take care. You have to substitute width of web 240. Okay, D into FCK. Substitute. You have got as 0.072. 0.072. Now referring to the table, let us refer to the table. It is 0.072. 0.072 will come in which part? 0.072. It will come here. Correct. It will come in
Yes,
this
sir.
part. Correct. And what was the effective span by depth ratio? What was that?
22.22.
Correct. 22.22. Okay. So where will 22.22 come? Here, right? In between these two. It will come over here. 22. Correct. So we have to take in consideration. Okay. We have to do. I think we have to double integrate. We have to integrate. We have to interpolate over here also, and we have to interpolate here also. Correct. We have to interpolate in between, and we have to interpolate in this part also. So you have to what we can do is we can either take the effective span as 20. We can round it off, or we can interpolate here, and then we can find out. Let us see what they have done. Right. So you can see, can you observe here? So this is also interpolation. This is also interpolation. A double interpolation is required. Correct. Double interpolation is required because it is lying in between here. It is lying in between, and this is also in between. Okay. No whole number. So you have to interpolate. Can you interpolate? Do you know how to interpolate? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can try and interpolate. So that value after interpolation, okay, after interpolation, they have got it as 0.1228. Okay. So in exam, you have to pray that this type of double interpolation should not come. Okay. So easier one, if it comes, it is quickly, you are able to solve it quickly. Otherwise, this double interpolation will take a lot of time. Okay, so XU value is 410. XU value is 410. What was the value of DF? What is the value of DF? Depth of flange. Depth of flange. Let us check. Depth of flange was 360. 360. And XU is how much? 400 and something. 400 and something. So it is larger than DF. No, so our assumption is correct. No problem. XU is greater than DF. Correct. No problem. So what will happen in exam is you will not be knowing which one is true. Right. So first you will assume that it is XU is lesser than DF. You will calculate. You will do double interpolation, and you will calculate. You will find out that this is false. Then you will come here. Then again you will do double interpolation. Then you will find out that it is true. It will take a lot of time in exam. So make sure you practice properly the double interpolation and all those things. Okay. So moving on. So FP by FPU by FP. This is also got from the table. This is got from table by double interpolation. You can see we have to double interpolate again. So this particular value we have to find out, that has come as 1.268. Okay. So FPU value will be this value into FP. This FP will come over here. So multiply by 1200. So we have got FPU. Okay, so we have this particular big formula for your moment of resistance. This is for web, and this particular term is for flange. Okay, all these things are known. All these things are known. Properly substitute and calculate. You will get the answer as 14. You can see it is a very large value, 14,190 kilonewton meter. Because the beam is of what span? It is a span of 40 meters, very large span. Hence, the moment of resistance is also very large. Okay, so this is regarding your unsymmetrical section. So whether it is a symmetrical, unsymmetrical doesn't matter, because you are nowhere related to calculating area of concrete or area of or CG of concrete, right? CG of CGC, it is nowhere related. So whether it is a rectangular section, T section, symmetric, unsymmetric, doesn't matter. Don't get scared. Okay, watching the unsymmetrical section, because nowhere we are dealing with this area of concrete. Suppose if you want to calculate the area of concrete, then it will be tough, right? You have to divide, then you have to find out, right? Area of concrete is easy. CGC calculation is different, difficult, and I calculation is difficult, right? Moment of inertia calculation is difficult, but moment of resistance does not have any of these terms, right? Any of these terms are not present in the moment of resistance formula. So whether it is a symmetric, unsymmetric, doesn't matter. Don't get scared. Directly go ahead with the problem. Okay, clear? No problem, guys. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we will try with one more numerical. I think we are in the last numerical. Okay, so here we have a post-tensioned bridge girder. You can see we have a girder. Particularly, it is a post-tensioned girder of a bridge with unbonded tendon. Okay, very important. So we have to refer table number 12. Okay, post-tension section. Okay, overall dimension is given 1200 mm wide and 1800 mm deep. Wall thickness is 150 mm, no problem. Area of steel AP is given, right? Area of steel AP is given. Effective depth is also given directly, no problem. Effective depth, effective pre-stress after all the losses is given, right? FP after all the losses, meaning effective stress, FPE. Span of the beam is given, no problem. Okay, FCK value, FP value, all these things are given. Okay, so we will be needing all these values. So coming back over here. So AP, FP, FCK, FPE, length, and the effective depth. Okay, all these values are given. So because we are dealing with table number 12, we will be needing what? Effective span by effective depth ratio. Okay, effective span by effective depth ratio. So that is what we will be doing, effective span by effective depth, right? We have got a whole number. Okay, very nice. We have got a whole number, so no need of interpolation over here. Next, assuming the neutral axis lies within the flange, right? XU is lesser than D, first case. So when that is the case, we have to consider this section, right? We have to consider this section. So width we have to consider of this 1200 width we have to consider. So AP, FP by BD, FCK. Okay, B I have told you have to consider 1200. Okay, FP value is given as how much? 1000 FPE value. Okay, so the particular term value we have got as 0.052. Now let us check in the table where it lies exactly. So our value of effective depth by effective span was how much? Can you recall? How much was it?
15, sir.
15, correct, 15. Okay, so it is lying here, 15. Okay, so what was this value? This value was how much?
0.05.
0.0?
58.
0.052. Okay, 0.052. It is over here, lying in between these two. Okay, so it is, you have to take these two values Okay, we have to take these two values and we can interpolate. Okay, 0.052, you can take it as 0.05 itself, you can take directly and you can interpolate and you can find out. So it will be what? It will be average of these two values, because it is 15, which is in between 10 and 20. You can take directly average and you can find out this value. Okay, or else if you want to do perfect work, you can assume you can take whatever the value we have got, right, 0.052. So you have to interpolate here and you have to interpolate over here also. You have to take this double interpolation work you have to do, or else you can take at 0.05 and you can do single interpolation. Left to you how much accurate you want to do. Okay, so they have what they have taken, as I've told, they have taken as 0.05. They have left out this 2, right? So you can interpolate for a single term. So it has come as 0.17, 0.17. So XU is equals to 0.17 into 1600 at depth or effective depth. If you multiply, you have to check. So it is greater than DF, right? DF was how much? DF was how much? Let us check. DF was how much? So how much is it? 150, I think, right? 150, right? 150. It is 150. And the value which we have got is how much? 272, which is clearly greater than 150. So the assumption is wrong. So we have to next check whether the neutral axis lies outside the flange. This is the second case. Okay, because the it is lying here in the web section, this thickness we have to consider 150. Okay, BW thickness is 150, which you have to consider while substituting here. Okay, APW by BW DFCK. Okay, so similarly as we have done previously, so APF, first calculate APF, then calculate APW. So it is how much? 2418. Okay, substitute that over here, you have got the value of this particular term, right? So refer table number 12 of IS 1343, refer the table, right? You have to do double interpolation. You can see double interpolation is required. So do double interpolation, you will get the value here as 0.427. So what is XU value now? XU by D is 0.427. So XU is equal to 683. Okay, so 683 we have got, no problem. Next, after this, we have, I think, got all the values now. Okay, with this particular term also we need this particular term. So this is also taken from table number 12. Table number 12 of IS 1343. Double interpolation again to find the middle value. So it has come as 1.309. So what is FPU? FPU is 1.309 into 1000, which is the effective stress. Okay, you have got FPW. What you can do, you can substitute that in the moment of resistance formula, the big formula, right? Big formula. Here you can see, so all the values are known. You can substitute and we can find out. So the moment of resistance, what you have got is 6580 kilonewton. Okay, so the problems are pretty same. You can see the procedure is same. Nothing tricky over here. Just what you have to do, you have to properly calculate. Make sure you do not make mistakes while calculating, and also while referring the table. Okay, while referring the table, make sure you properly refer. Okay, the main thing is the assumption. Based on your assumption, if you assume correctly in the first case itself, your calculation part is reduced. Okay, but if your assumption goes wrong, your calculation is increased, right? Calculation has increased, your problem goes on for one more page extra. Okay, so that is the thing, but the problems are pretty easy, very easy. So I think one more problem we have left out, last problem. We will solve this last problem and we will wind up. Is it fine? Last problem we'll solve.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Are you there? Are you focusing or have you left? Channa Basu, Manjunath Kamble.
Sir.
I hope you are
Yes,
there.
sir.
Yes. Okay,
Yes, sir.
Ranganath.
Yes, sir.
Vinayak has joined recently. Vinayak,
Yes, sir.
ಏನ್ರಿ ಟೀ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದ್ರಿ ಏನ್ರಿ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದ್ರಿ?
ಕಾಲ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು. No problem, no problem. So last problem, we are dealing with today's last problem and we will wind up. So this is a post tension beam, okay? Post tension, very important. Then pre-stress T-beam, we have a T-beam with unbonded tendon, okay, unbonded. So we have to refer which table, can you tell me unbonded tendon?
12.
Sir, sir, the screen is on the table section, sir.
Okay. Sorry. So I think I have explained the entire thing with the screen on the other side, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, very
Yes,
sorry.
sir.
So you should have told me now. You should have told me that sir, your screen is wrong. Okay, so I hope you have understood. You can go through. It is very easy, no problem, right? So the same thing which I have done previously, just substitution work. Okay, just substitution work. You can check. I'll send you these notes. You can go through later on. Okay, so very easy calculation is very easy. No need to worry. You will understand. Okay, so regarding the eighth numerical, so it is an unbonded tendon. It is made up of a flange 300 mm wide and 200 mm thick. Okay, width of the rib is 150 mm. Effective depth of the section is also given 320, no problem. The beam is pre-stressed by 24 wires. Okay, each wire is 5 mm in diameter. Characteristic strength of steel is given. Effective stress is also given. FPE value is given. The cube strength of concrete FCK value is given. Estimate the flexural strength using codal provisions IS code. Okay. Assume L by D ratio as 20. They have directly given, no need of calculation. Next, moving on, AP value we can calculate AP. So they have told 24 wires of 5 mm each. Okay, so we have got the area of steel. These values given, this value is also given. This is your effective depth, which is small d, 320. Okay, 320. So first, which we will assume? We will assume XU is less than D or less is within flange or outside flange.
Inside flange.
We will assume it is inside flange. Okay. So assuming XU is within the flange or XU is lesser than DF. Okay, we will assume this. So AP divided by FPE by BD FCK. So B, which you have to take here, width of the flange you have to take. Okay, width of the flange, that is 300, because this is the width we are concerned. Okay, so it is come as 0.078. So table number 12, right? Table number 12, post tension beam for a value of 0.078 and L by D ratio of 20. So all these things you have to remember while you check your table. Okay, so effective span by effective depth ratio is 20. Okay, here in this part. And then what was this value? 0.07, how much?
78, sir.
0.078. Okay, so it is lying in between these two values. Correct, so you have to interpolate now. Interpolate and find out the in-between value for 0.078. Okay. So so what I have done is I have moved forward with this particular thing. So do not calculate this. First calculate XU by D. Okay, XU by D you calculate first. Check whether the assumption is correct and then move on to this part. Okay, first you check for XU value for the assumption. Okay, so for 20 and for these two values, 0.16 and 0.32, 0.16 and 0.32. Okay, you can check. So 0.16 and 0.32 here. So intermediate value we can interpolate and find out. So XU value we have got as 80 mm. So what is the flange thickness? Let us check what is the flange thickness. It is 1200 mm, very large. Flange is very large, 1200 mm. And the XU value which we have got is 80 mm. So it is clearly lesser than DF. Hence our assumption is correct. No problem. Hence we can move forward with the same thing. Okay, FPU by FPE. So this value we can find out from the table. Okay, span by effective depth is 20, and this particular thing, right, for 0.078 you can interpolate and find out. So it has come as 1.286. Okay, 1.286. Here you can see 1.286. So FPU will be equal to 1.286 into effective stress, that is 900. So this value we have got. Directly substitute in the moment of resistance formula, directly the short one, right? For the rectangular one we know, so we can substitute and you can find out. Okay, so with this we are done with today's class. So I hope you have understood all the things regarding
Yes, sir.
flexural strength calculation. Yes, no problem. Any doubt?
Sir, that XU by D calculation is there, no, sir? That
Yes.
can we do for all the problems?
XU
First,
by D. I
sir,
didn't get
that
right.
I mean, you checked if that XU lies within the flange or beyond the flange. That we can do it for all the problems, right?
Yeah, we have to do for all the problems except
Like,
for rectangular sections, right? There is no question of flange and web here, except this, whether you are having a T section or I section, we have to check, right? Or else if they have mentioned clearly where the neutral axis lies, there is no need of assumption. Okay, is your doubt clear, or you are talking about anything else?
I mean, should we check that one first and go ahead with that?
Yes,
This
yes,
one?
yes, yes. You have to first check XU by D,
First check
XU
XU
by
by
D.
D.
XU by D you check, and then if it is true, if your assumption is true, then go for the second one, then go for this particular term. Okay.
Because there was a problem in which we double interpolated, considering
right.
something different.
Yes.
So we should go with this first, and
Yes,
after
go,
that,
yes. Always go for XU by D first whenever you are assuming anything. Okay, whenever you are assuming. So because if you do this particular thing with double interpolation, that you do this first using double interpolation, then you come here and you double interpolate, and then you find out that this statement is false. Then this particular work, what you have done, will be waste. So because of that, to save your time, go with this particular thing first. Okay, is it clear now?
yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So any other doubt, guys? If anyone has any kind of doubt, if anyone wants me to explain any part, please.
Sir, what
we
about
have
L section?
L section ರೀ ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಿ L section ಈ ತರ or ಈ ತರ
Sir.
First one or second one?
First one, sir.
First one this kind.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I think this kind of section will rarely be used in site. Okay, it will be not used. So the thing which will be used, let me draw. Okay, L section is rarely used because that thing is not very effective in handling loads, right? It is one-sided loaded. So the thing which can be asked in our exam is this kind of inverted T. Correct? Inverted T can be asked. So you can assume that the neutral axis lies within the web. First you can assume, then if it falls, if that statement is false, then you can assume that the neutral axis lies within the flange. Okay, so it is an inverted T, the same thing which you have done for the T section, same thing which you can follow over here. Formulas and all things will remain same. Okay, but only assumption, you have to first assume within web and then go for flange. Okay, but usually your neutral axis usually lies in this particular thing, right, in our flange. So it depends. Okay, it is not usually true. It depends on problem to problem, but it is upon your luck which assumption you do first, and if it holds true or false. If it holds false, then 5-10 minutes of yours will be wasted. But that thing in some problems carries marks also. It carries marks. Okay, so make sure you go serially. Okay, start from top, assume the first thing, and then go for the second thing. Okay, and always remember XU by D you calculate first. XU by D term from the table you calculate first, and then go forward with the other term. Okay, with this term you go later. Okay, any other doubt? I hope your doubt is cleared.
Sir, C section.
C section let me draw C section for you. C section, this kind of section
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the same thing, you can assume that the neutral axis lies over here first, and then you can check whether it lies here, and if it's not lying in here, both of these, then you can check for this case. Third case you can check, right? So usually it will lie in the first or second case, first or the second one. Rarely it will go for the third, right? Neutral axis is usually in between these two. Okay, so you can assume here in the flange first, and then for the web. Okay, then for the web. Okay, any other doubt, any other thing? See, calculations are same. Calculation are same. Whatever section you take, calculation is same. Formulas will remain same. Okay, don't worry. Any other thing? Sanket, Hanji, any doubt?
No, sir.
Then Teju Pattar,
No doubt, sir.
no doubt, clear. Teju Pattar, you
Yes,
are
sir.
here after many classes.
No, sir. Last class I was present.
Okay. Then Prerna is here.
Yes, sir.
Understood, no problem.
Yes, sir.
Abhishek Aptekar,
Yes, sir.
first class, second class?
First class, sir.
First class, huh?
Yes, sir.
This is your first class in the entire sem?
Yeah, sir.
Oh my
What, sir?
God. This is your first class you are attending of pre-stressed concrete, huh?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. Any specific reason?
Sir, due to work, sir.
Work, you're working somewhere, huh?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, no problem. Make sure you have proper genuine reason to give later on when you face trouble for attendance. Okay,
Okay, sir.
no problem. Okay, so you can type in our attendance, and if you have any doubts, you feel free to ask. Please type in our attendance, and along with that, if any doubt, you can ask. Okay, once you type in our attendance, you are free to exit the session. Type in our attendance quickly. If you have any doubts, please ask. If you are done, you can exit the session.